On this computer. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, September 23rd already. It's the first day of fall and 90 degrees here in the Washington, D.C. area. Of course, it's warm in Florida, where my co-host and friend Agnes lives, because it's always warm in Florida. But it's time for today's episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. As always, we are sponsored by Rogue Tulips LLC, 501c Consulting and Association Management Services. Check us out on the web at roguetulips.com. We're also supporters of the 501c League, which is a virtual membership organization for everyone in the 501c community and the people who love them. You can check them out at the501cleague.net. And we'd like to remind everybody they're offering an ethics course this year. So check that out as well. Pick up a CAE credit, get your renewal credit for 2020, or if you're just interested in ethics, you might want to take the course. I'm Cecilia Sepp. I'm the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips LLC, and I'm here with my co-host and friend, Agnes. So Agnes, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Cecilia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant with Rogue Tulip. Over to you, Cecilia.
Great. Thank you, Agnes. And today's topic is the aging population. And it was suggested by Agnes, so I know she has some really interesting insights as always. So what do we mean about the aging population and how it affects 501c organizations? Well, we're all getting older, no matter where we happen to be in the timeline in our own life cycle or life arc, whatever you like to call it. And like I always say, any day above ground is a good day, because there's more opportunity for more things to happen. But in all seriousness, the United States specifically, since that's where we do most of our work and activity, is aging. There's more people that are older people than there are people that are young people. And so I believe that cutoff is, they're looking at maybe 35 for that cutoff, which the French call a woman of a certain age, which is basically anybody over 35. But the thing is, we're all getting older, hopefully. And just because you're older doesn't mean you're out of steam or you don't have something to contribute. And in a lot of ways, I think older people are being overlooked as far as what they can contribute, because the United States traditionally and culturally has been focused on youth. And that is because we are a young country still, just not even 300 years old. And we also were founded by a lot of people, a lot of energy, moving forward, always westward, expansion, go somewhere, be a pioneer, start a new business, land of opportunity. So people tend to equate that kind of attitude with youth. But there's a lot of examples of older people taking a second or third career, and that brings us back to 501c specifically. A lot of people say, you know, I've been in the corporate world, or maybe I owned a shop or my own other kind of for-profit business, and now I'm ready to do something different. So I maybe want to have a second career working in the nonprofit world. And so there's an opportunity to recruit new members to your organization who are not young members, but they're new to the profession. So at this point, I'm going to throw it over to Agnes so that she can share some of the ideas she has about recruiting and working with the older population.
Thank you, Cecilia, and thank you so much for that excellent overview. And indeed, it is a reality that confronts all of us, and well said. But I do see tremendous opportunity here for our 501c community. I know that in the community, there's been a lot of talk about, transition planning, succession planning, which it's good. I think that's a good start to have this conversation. But the opportunity here comes when the 501c community begins to take this reality that we see in aging staff, aging membership, and begin to form a strategy around it. As you know, a lot of the issues that we talk about here in chatting with Agnes and Cecilia, a strategic focus, but they're also, operationally focused, because out of strategy comes operation, and out of operation comes implementation. So it's a very holistic approach. So as 501c, I think the strategic issue here is that how do we take advantage of this reality and develop a strategy around talent management and membership management of our aging population? and I think overall, the overarching goal here would be looking at training, looking at coaching, looking at mentoring. And as we begin to break that down, we begin to create value around our agent membership on how they can pass on their wisdom in making our community, a strengthened community as people age and they leave the profession.
And I like that you pointed that out about strengthening our community, either in the overall 501c community or in specific associations or 501c organizations like foundations or charities, because again, it could be a second or third career for somebody. But the other thing is, just because somebody is over 50 doesn't mean they're done yet. It doesn't mean they're not still learning. And so what kind of opportunities, as you pointed out, what kind of opportunities can be presented for the more experienced member of your association? Because how else could we learn? What else is out there? Do we need to learn about new technology? I think the successful people are the ones who keep up as much as they can, but maybe that's a thing you could offer to your members. It's like, hey, do you really want to understand how WhatsApp works? Should you use it? Or should you just stick with the traditional Facebook and LinkedIn model? Which professionally, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people still think of LinkedIn as the grown-up corporate business way to communicate and connect with people. But there's always something new coming out, like Instagram. I have an Instagram account. I'll be upfront. I have an Instagram account. I try to follow people. I try to like people, but I still don't quite understand Instagram because I'm so fascinated by this whole concept of influencers on Instagram and how they get people to do things simply because they post a lot of photos of themselves. I saw that documentary about, I think it was called the Fire Music Festival down in the Caribbean. I think it was in the Bahamas. And they got all these people to go simply because it was on Instagram, and Instagram influencers said, go to this music conference or concert, even though we're not going, and all these people went. It's a total disaster because it turned out it was organized by a con artist. But just the whole fact that Instagram influencers can get people to buy things. I just saw a rather tragic story about social media influencers. A Japanese woman makes these elaborate meals, or I'm sorry, she's not Japanese, I apologize, she's Chinese. Chinese woman makes these elaborate meals at work using office supplies. So she'll use like a tin can and a paper clip, and she makes these like big meals just for fun because she just finds it interesting. She says it's not educational, it's not a how-to, it's just something weird I do that you're supposed to watch and enjoy. But these two little girls tried making popcorn in a tin can the way this woman did at work, and they did it wrong, and they had an explosion, and one of them died, and the other one's horribly burned. So that might seem a little off track, but like if you're an older person and you're not on these apps and you're not quite understanding this whole other subculture that's been created, I think that's a place that 501c organizations could step in and say, here, let us help you understand these subcultures that are popping up due to social media. Because it's really a lot of things that are going on. Now, there's a lot of people, they're not on Facebook and they're not on Twitter, but these groups are spawning subcultures that are affecting the way people make decisions. So that's an important thing to understand. I know some people take breaks from social media, but that's, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But the point being, there's a lot of different things going on in the world that we're not all necessarily up on. We may try it. Like, I still don't understand why people thought Pinterest was a good idea for membership organizations. I mean, I checked it out, and I was years ago, and I was like, I still don't get that. Somebody could explain that to me. I don't know how that would work. But again, kind of bringing it back to our topic, that's one broad example of what's going on in the world that older people or people that are new to association management might want to learn about. And so you mentioned mentoring, Agnes. What are some of your ideas on mentoring?
The ideas that I have on mentoring is actually a two-pronged approach for the agent staff in our 501c community. As we are nearing retirement age, or even just to sunset our career into different directions, I think there's an important value here in pairing aging members to the young staff to mentor them, coach them, and prepare them for success. The same principle can actually be applied to finding members or growing our membership within the association. The agent members are supposed to be, we should consider them as ambassadors to recruit membership, letting them go out there, because who better knows our association and our community than our agent members? They could be able to talk about the value, the benefits, and the opportunities that our community and our associations provide. So using them or engaging them as an ambassador, it's a tremendous opportunity that as 501c community, we don't want to pass on.
Right.
The other area we really need to look at, tying into that mentoring, is, engaging our members to serve as volunteer roles, the agent members, because, when they age and they leave the profession, if they don't leave the profession, they can morph into these volunteer roles and do a much more greater job in serving in these roles than a younger group would do, but also provide the younger community an opportunity to learn and coach and mentor from our aging population. So the opportunity it's endless, Cecilia. But as 501c community, we just really need to formulate a plan around how we're going to implement it.
Yes, and I think that is a great observation about mentoring. I think people who have been watching me online know I'm a big supporter of mentoring. I'm mentoring a CAE study group right now. And I think there's a role for everybody, because as we go through the life cycle, we're at different places. You often, Agnes, mention how you like the season of life that you're in. And I love that attitude, because it's sort of like that Zen saying, no matter where you go, there you are. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you're still that person, and you're still in the moment, and you're still in that season of life. And there's the life cycle. The obsession with maintaining eternal youth may be fueled, at least in the United States, by all of the explorers that came to the West looking for the fountain of youth. And it's like, well, there isn't one. It's just like we all age and we grow. But because we age, not growing old, but aging, is a different experience, and it's something that we should not look askance at or fear, because everybody ages differently, and everybody is not sitting in a rocking chair or letting their hair go gray. Or, not that there's anything wrong with that. If you want to quit coloring your hair, I say do it, because you've got to do what's right for you. But my point being, we're all still active. We're not done just because we're past 35. And there's many opportunities, as you said, Agnes, many opportunities for people to stay active in their association, because they could mentor younger members. They could fill a lot of those volunteer slots, as maybe if they become a retired member. I think we have overlooked retired members a lot in the association world. I think we need to find a place for them, because it connects them socially. We're down to about 2 minutes, so I guess we better start our wrap up. But so when it comes to aging population, let's not write people off because they're over 35. One of my favorite comic actresses who died a few years ago is Doris Roberts. You may remember her as the mom on Everybody Loves Raymond. And she had a quote: she got more work as an older female actress than as a younger one, and because she embraced those kind of roles. And she said, there is life after 35, and that's what I'm here to tell you. And so, yeah, there is not just life after 35, there is a lot of life, and we all have something to contribute. And there's an old saying that I like to use a lot, because I think it's funny, is age and experience will always overcome youth and enthusiasm. And it's kind of a funny saying, but I think that, uniting the two ends of that saying, the youth have energy and dreams, and they see opportunities everywhere, and the older people can say yes, and we see them too, but we have experience, so we know how to make those opportunities come into reality. And I think that not overlooking people, not focusing on the generational differences, and again, focusing on what people have in common in their profession, in their career, and in their life, is really what is going to keep moving us forward. as 501c groups. So any other closing thoughts, Agnes?
Well said, Cecilia. And the closing thought will be enjoy the season of aging. It's a beautiful season. It has potentials, it has tremendous opportunity. And our 501c community should definitely tap into that season and use it to their advantage to make our 501c community a very successful and engaging one.
That is a great comment to close on, Agnes. Thank you. And so, as we always say every week, thank you for joining us. And take 15 minutes and talk to someone because you just might learn something. So, that's all for today on our topic, the aging population. And we will be back next week with another topic. And until then, have a great week ahead. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.